Winter 1866, Wyoming's Powder River, a young Lakota warrior, Crazy Horse, lures 80 U.S. soldiers into a snowy grave, their blood staining the plains in a trap that shook the frontier. A carved arrow, a torn letter, and a seer's prophecy whisper of vengeance for stolen lands. This wasn't just a battle, it was a warning Custer ignored a decade later at Little Bighorn. Could one ambush foretell another? What secrets lie buried in the snow? Join Frontier Chronicles to unravel the Fetterman Fight's deadly omen. Hey folks, welcome to Frontier Chronicles, broadcasting from the windswept heart of Bozeman, Montana. I'm Jake Harlan, and today we're stepping back to 1866, a decade before Custer's infamous last stand at Little Bighorn, to uncover a blood-soaked warning etched in Wyoming's snow, the Fetterman Fight. This wasn't just a battle, it was the first thunderclap of native resistance, a deadly trap led by a young Lakota warrior, Crazy Horse, that should have taught the U.S. Army to fear the plains. Spoiler, they didn't learn. Grab a seat, this tale's as wild as a winter storm. Picture Wyoming's Powder River country, December 1866. The U.S. Army builds Fort Phil Kearny smack in the middle of Lakota territory, without permission, claiming it's civilizing the frontier, as D. Brown details in Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee. To the Lakota, Cheyenne, and Arapaho, it's an invasion of their sacred hunting grounds, already strained by settlers flooding the Bozeman Trail, per Robert Utley's Cavalier in Buckskin. The 1868 Fort Laramie Treaty, promising the land to the tribes, is still 2 years away, but tensions are boiling. Enter Crazy Horse, a 25-year-old Oglala warrior, not yet the legend of Little Bighorn, but already a master of deception, as Nathaniel Philbrick notes in The Last Stand. Crazy Horse plays a deadly game. He rides alone near the fort, taunting soldiers with feigned retreats, his pony kicking up snow, daring them to chase. Captain William J. Fetterman, a Civil War veteran with 80 men under his command, takes the bait. "Give me 80 men, and I'll ride through the whole Sioux nation," he brags, dismissing the savages as no match, per Utley. His arrogance blinds him to the 1,000 warriors, Lakota, Cheyenne, Arapaho, hiding in the snowy ridges, led by Crazy Horse and High Backbone. A Cheyenne scout, Little Wolf, later recalled, "We knew the Bluecoats would follow. Their pride was their trap," as Brown cites. On December 20th, a wood-cutting party from the fort is attacked, and Fetterman's ordered to protect them, but not to cross Lodge Trail Ridge. He ignores the order, chasing Crazy Horse's decoys. In 1887, a Lakota elder unearthed a bone-tipped arrow near the fort, carved with "Death to Invaders." Was it a signal? A trader's journal, found in 1890, hinted at a Lakota seer's vision: blood will paint the snow before the moon fades. The fort soldiers laughed off warnings. Why did Fetterman ignore orders? What did that arrow mean? Who foresaw the slaughter? Hey folks, Jake Harlan here, back with Frontier Chronicles from Bozeman, Montana, diving into the heart of the Fetterman Fight, December 21, 1866, a slaughter that shook the frontier and sent a chilling warning the U.S. Army ignored, until Custer's doom at Little Bighorn a decade later. Last time, we set the stage. Fort Phil Kearny, built on Lakota land without consent, sparked fury along the Bozeman Trail, as D. Brown details in Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee. Young Crazy Horse, a 25-year-old Oglala warrior, baited the trap, taunting soldiers with daring rides, per Nathaniel Philbrick's The Last Stand. Now, Captain William J. Fetterman takes the bait, leading 80 men to their deaths. This is where the snow turns red, let's ride in. It's a frigid morning in Wyoming's Powder River country. The Lakota, Cheyenne, and Arapaho, fed up with settlers and soldiers trampling their sacred hunting grounds, have had enough, as Robert Utley notes in Cavalier in Buckskin. The 1868 Fort Laramie Treaty, meant to protect their land, is 2 years away, but the Army's arrogance is here now. Fetterman, a Civil War veteran, brags he could ride through the whole Sioux nation with 80 men, dismissing warnings from Colonel Henry Carrington to stay south of Lodge Trail Ridge, per Utley. Crazy Horse, with High Backbone and Red Cloud, plans a masterstroke. Over 1,000 warriors hide in the snowy hills, waiting. At dawn, a wood-cutting party from the fort is attacked, a decoy move. Fetterman, with 49 infantry, 27 cavalry, and 2 civilians, charges out, ignoring orders, chasing Crazy Horse's small band of riders, who feign weakness, darting just out of reach, per Philbrick. The trap springs on Peno Creek slopes. Over 1,000 warriors, Lakota led by Crazy Horse, Cheyenne under Little Wolf, Arapaho with Black Shield, erupt from ravines, arrows and war clubs flying, as Brown recounts. In under 30 minutes, Fetterman's men are surrounded, cut down with no survivors. Cheyenne warrior White Elk later said, "Their guns were slow, our arrows were faster," per Brown. A chilling find came later, a torn letter, clutched in Fetterman's hand, addressed to Carrington, "They're too many, send help." Found by a scout in 1867, it was half-burned, dismissed as lost in the chaos, per Utley. Then, in 1893, a trader uncovered a Lakota war club near the battlefield, carved with a buffalo and the words, "No mercy." Was it a warrior's vow? A Lakota elder, Spotted Elk, whispered in 1900 of a vision before the fight, "The snow will drink their blood." Why did Fetterman charge headlong? What did that letter beg for? Who carved that club? Hey folks, Jake Harlan here, wrapping up our epic tale with Frontier Chronicles from Bozeman, Montana. We've ridden through the snowy ambush of the Fetterman Fight, December 21, 1866, where young Crazy Horse lured Captain William J. Fetterman and his 80 men into a trap, slaughtered by 1,000 Lakota, Cheyenne, and Arapaho warriors, as D. Brown recounts in Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee. This wasn't just a battle, it was a blood-red warning the U.S. Army ignored, setting the stage for Custer's doom at Little Bighorn a decade later. Today, we'll uncover the fallout, the haunting parallels, and a final clue that ties it all together. Let's close this out with a bang. The Fetterman Fight sent shockwaves through the frontier. Fort Phil Kearny, built on Lakota land without consent, was a spark in the Powder River country, defying the spirit of the yet-to-be-signed 1868 Fort Laramie Treaty, per Robert Utley's Cavalier in Buckskin. The Army, stunned by the loss of 81 men in 30 minutes, faced its first major defeat to native forces, as Nathaniel Philbrick notes in The Last Stand. Colonel Henry Carrington, blamed for Fetterman's reckless charge beyond Lodge Trail Ridge, was recalled, and the fort abandoned by 1868, a rare native victory, per Brown. But the lesson, respect the warrior's strength, was buried. General Philip Sheridan pushed harder campaigns, ignoring Crazy Horse's tactics, per Utley. Fast forward to 1876, George Armstrong Custer repeats Fetterman's mistakes at Little Bighorn. Splitting his 600-man 7th Cavalry, underestimating 2,500 warriors, and ignoring Crow Scouts' warnings, Custer's 268 men were wiped out, as Philbrick details. Crazy Horse, now a seasoned leader, used the same decoy strategy, luring Custer into a trap, per Brown. A survivor of Fort Phil Kearny, Private John Ryan, later wrote in 1877, "Fetterman's blood was a warning, Custer didn't listen," as Utley cites. The Army's arrogance, fueled by 15,000 prospectors flooding the Black Hills, cost them dearly. In 2024, the Lakota still fight in court, citing the 1868 treaty to reclaim the Black Hills, per recent legal filings. The Fetterman site, now a National Historic Landmark, bears a monument to the warrior's courage, not just the soldier's loss. In 2006, a rancher near Peno Creek found a braided Lakota rein, etched with a buffalo, and 1866. A Lakota elder, Singing Wolf, claimed it belonged to Crazy Horse's pony, left as a sign, "The land remembers." Was it a trophy of victory? The 2003 Indian Memorial at Little Bighorn honors this legacy, shifting focus to native resistance. Why did the Army forget Fetterman's lesson? What else does the land hide? Will justice prevail? Drop your thoughts below, hit that thumbs up, subscribe, and ring the bell for more Frontier Chronicles. Hey folks, Jake Harlan back with Frontier Chronicles, broadcasting from the rugged plains of Bozeman, Montana, to wrap up our journey through the Fetterman Fight of December 21, 1866, a bloody omen that echoed all the way to Custer's fall at Little Bighorn in 1876. We've seen Crazy Horse lure Captain William J. Fetterman's 80 men into a deadly ambush, wiping them out in 30 minutes, as D. Brown recounts in Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee. This wasn't just a battle, it was a Lakota, Cheyenne, and Arapaho cry that their land wouldn't be taken without a fight. Today, we'll explore the lasting impact, the fight for justice, and a final twist that'll leave you questioning what else the plains hide. Let's dive in. The Fetterman Fight rocked the U.S. Army, forcing a rare retreat. Fort Phil Kearny, built on Lakota land without consent, became a symbol of overreach, as Robert Utley details in Cavalier in Buckskin. The Army abandoned the fort by 1868, a win for Red Cloud's coalition, sealed by the 1868 Fort Laramie Treaty, which promised the Black Hills to the tribes, per Nathaniel Philbrick's The Last Stand. But the victory was fleeting. 15,000 prospectors flooded the hills by 1874, breaking the treaty and igniting the Sioux campaign. Custer's 1876 disaster, repeating Fetterman's arrogance, proved the lesson unlearned: underestimate Crazy Horse at your peril, as Brown notes. A 1878 Army report, buried until 1900, admitted Fetterman's reckless pursuit cost lives, per Utley. In 2025, the Lakota fight on, suing for the Black Hills' return, citing the 1868 treaty, per recent court filings. The Fetterman Fight site, now a National Historic Landmark, honors the warrior's courage alongside the soldier's loss. In 2018, a Cheyenne descendant, White Hawk, found a beaded token near Pennow Creek, etched with a buffalo and 1866 victory. Lakota elder Singing Wolf called it crazy horses, left to mark the land's spirit, per oral tradition. The 2003 Indian Memorial at Little Bighorn, bearing names like Crazy Horse and High Backbone, reframes history from Custer's myth to native triumph, as Philbrick describes. A 1889 trader's diary, recently uncovered, quotes a Lakota seer: "The snow's blood will call until the land is ours again." Fetterman's trap was a prophecy fulfilled, its echo in Little Bighorn a reminder: the plains don't forgive. Why did Custer ignore the warning? What other tokens lie buried? Will the courts hear the land's cry? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that thumbs up, subscribe, and ring the bell for more Frontier Chronicles.